Good day, Facebook. This is Start Broadcasting for your local community with myself, Stephen Healey, and David Burrows. Good day, David.
Good day to you, fine Sir Stephen. Sir Stephen? You're not a Sir Stephen.
No, I'm not been knighted yet.
Stephen Sir. So it's Stephen Sir then.
It's a polite way of being addressed, because a lot of the sort of video broadcasters from India and Pakistan will address you as Sir. Right. But that's purely and simply because of age. Anyway, on that note, we're joined by Mark Curran this week, are we not, David? So
yes,
let's bring Mark onto the screen, and then we can get started. And this technology is all working well, and we are first of all, to everybody who's watching, welcome to the show. And this is our regular Monday show at 5 p.m. in the UK and 12 p.m. Eastern. And we welcome today Mark Curran. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Stephen. It's
hey, Mark.
A pleasure to be here. Hi, David.
All right. Now, Mark, you have questions for us this week?
They'll kind of come up organically, I think. This is actually my first week, just kind of getting familiarized with the BeliveTV platform, and I've been sort of going through and trying to figure out some of the audio and the video glitches and all that normal stuff, all that normal fun stuff. But it's been going well. I've been doing some broadcasts as far as test broadcasts, and I thought this might be a good way. I've been watching some of you guys' the different shows, the different videos, the how-to videos and what have you, and I learned a lot from those. So I thought it'd be time to jump into an actual live show and see how it all works.
It's the best way, isn't it, David?
I've always said you gotta have an episode 1. You gotta have an episode 1 in everything. I'm writing a book, actually. It's going to be called Episode 1. So that's how I learned. I mean, years ago when I started, I'm a constant graduate of YouTube University.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I mean, I can do anything now because of YouTube, right? So whatever. I
got to be a trapeze artist. I can
be a doctor, a lawyer. Well, anyway, Mark, we've just met, and I haven't heard of who you are, so maybe you could tell me and share with our audience what your background is.
Oh, would be happy to. I'm a musician and writer and filmmaker. I'm based out of Los Angeles, and I've got a lot of varied interests, but those are my main 3. And my interest in broadcasting or webcasting has been to kind of be an adjunct to the web group that I started, or actually the Facebook group that I started just recently for horror fiction fans, as I'm also a horror fiction writer and a great fan of horror fiction myself. I thought, well, be a good way to start a community of people who have like-minded and enjoy, scary stories, scary books, things like that. And so that's sort of brings me to here. I thought, I wonder what it would be involved in starting a live webcast. And I think that would be an exciting way to reach the members of the group and have them interact and get them involved in it. Because, as you know, the Facebook groups are more about interaction and involvement than they are just one person.
Yeah, engagement
content. Yes. So that's
and with the video, I mean, it's taken engagement like from here to here. Right?
Yes.
So that would explain the skeleton on the shelf in the back?
Yes, that was my grandfather. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, that's sort of the horror icon of the show. It's the mascot.
Well, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm not. I don't know if I could say I'm a horror fan, but I could say I'm not I don't dislike it. It depends what you define a fan as. I like a good scary movie especially when I was younger and I had a girlfriend, right?
Yes.
Those were the best movies to
of course.
It's okay, honey.
Yes, you've got to provide your partner with comfort in the midst of all that terror.
That's exactly what it was.
What we as men are supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Indeed.
Protect our females.
Could you, maybe on the topic of horror for a minute, could you explain to me why people in some horror films are so stupid? You know what I mean? Like, really, I want to walk into that dark room after I just saw 3 dead bodies. Like I'd be gone, man.
Yes. Well, if people were smart in horror movies, there would be no horror movie.
I guess
that's the thing. You have to suspend your disbelief, and it does seem unbelievable, but there is a suspension of disbelief in any movie and in any work of fiction. But people like to be scared, so I think they're willing to sort of put that aside. Although I'll say this, people nowadays really tend to pick apart things, like, for instance, horror movies. I mean, you go on there 10, 15 years ago, you had people would not be as critical, but now we're living in an age where people are so critical of every movie that comes out, every book that comes out. So they tend to pick at the logic of things, and I think it kind of ruins the fun.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like you could take that into Marvel comic world, right? Of
yes,
of flying men and web crawlers and all that sort of stuff. But isn't it great to imagine? I mean, and who knows? Like what, I forget if it was Plato or whoever said, whatever a man can think of, it can become. I mean, look at Gene Roddenberry, right? I mean, we do talk to our computers now.
Oh, we do. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, we're just sort of becoming immersed in the digital age to a point where we can't live without it.
Right.
A little scary.
Stephen, are you a horror fan?
We've got a tradition in the UK. There's a company called Hammer horror films.
Yeah, very familiar with. Yeah,
Peter Cushing and Vincent.
Well, you're thinking of Christopher Lee, I believe.
Christopher Lee, yes,
yeah.
Yes. A whole raft of British actors involved in horror films in the 60s and 70s, and some of them became classics. But nowadays they would be rated as sort of perhaps B movies.
Yeah.
But at the time when you were watching them, when you watch something for the first time, that's when it grips you, and you don't know what to expect. So the genre is certainly one which involves you.
Yes, it sure does. It's ever changing.
Right, and hello, Robert. Robert slept from the show we're doing 10 minutes ago to the one here. So nice to see Robert. Okay, now
I didn't catch Robert's comment. It was.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Boom. My bad. I shall read it out. Then you have the people that pick apart everything, and that is their business. That gets a huge following. I'm not sure which part of the discussion that's from, but I may have missed.
I think he's thinking about people who make their living as a critic, or people have a following, like that Harry Knowles guy that all he does is criticize movies. Or I don't know, maybe I don't read his stuff, so I don't know if his analyses are all critical, but I have a problem. I mean, everybody has a right to express their ideas and their opinions, but I think people should think for themselves. And when it comes to horror, whether it be a horror novel or a horror movie, should go not listen to the opinions of others, but formulate their own opinion. Go to see the movie themselves. There's so many. How many times have you seen a bad review of a movie and gone to see it and it's great, or vice versa? Where you'll read this rave and then you watch the movie. It's like, what were they thinking? Yeah. So we're all so different as people. That's what makes us unique. So
everybody has an opinion, and we all think ours is the right one.
Yeah, exactly. We all think that's reality. My opinion is the reality, and nothing else. Boy, I used to think that when I was younger, and now I've learned to just realize that whatever viewpoint I have is just merely my own, and everyone else has a right to their own unique viewpoint.
Whatever anybody says about you is none of your business anyway.
Exactly. Yes. I like
Stephen
that.
and I talked last week and had a great show last week. And one of the things we talked about, broadcasting. I do a lot of broadcasting in my community. I'm kind of the community guy around here.
Yeah.
And one of the questions was, kind of, what should you be prepared for when doing live broadcasting? And it's similar to, making films or writing books or a dog does not chase a parked car. And when you put yourself in front of the camera, you're going to get it. Somebody's
especially nowadays. Yeah.
You typed something wrong, or it's like texting. You know what? I've even finally gotten my kids a little trained to, if the conversation goes on more than 3 texts, call me.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah. I just figured I might as well call Dad. Well, that's really good because now I can hear your wonderful voice, right? And the sounds of but yeah, put yourself in front of the camera, put yourself out there. You're going to get attacked. I've had it. I've typed something on Facebook and somebody took it the wrong way. Next thing you know, they're unfriending me on Facebook. And like being unfriended on Facebook, it's like breaking up with somebody.
It hurts.
Yeah. Especially when you had respect for that person and you're you're taking this totally the wrong way. Or I don't know. I've been we've got 2 parks here. Big Park, Centennial Park, Canatera Park. I've been in front of Centennial Parks and we're live here at Canatera Park just because, I don't know, Centennial, Canatera, you could maybe kind of get them mixed up.
Right.
And just, you said da-da-da, and I drove all the way. Like, give me a break.
Yeah, you got to just be thick-skinned, as you said in your previous show. You have to be rhino skin, and you can't get your feelings hurt about. I mean, you're only human. We as people want everyone to love us, and we want to get along, and we want everybody to like us and praise us. And but that's egocentric mind, and it gets us into trouble every time.
I've often wondered if that factor of fear of being attacked or whatever you want to call it. I've often wondered how many talents have not appeared or how many personalities have not stepped forward and engaged and expressed themselves with something they're extremely amazing at because they're afraid of that.
It keeps the herd thinner.
Yeah. It's too bad.
Yeah, I think
it is in a sense. Go ahead, Stephen.
That's okay. It's okay. I'm going to drop down for a moment. You just carry on for a sec.
I thought he was going to say something profound, and then
I thought he was going to say, "I'm out of here. You guys carry." No. Steven's fantastic.
Steven is great, but he had this glimmer in his eye, and I thought, "Oh my God, this is it." He's going to drop he's going to drop this gem on us, and then he just said, "Oh, jolly good," and then he's gone. Jeez, Steve, you're very unpredictable, Stephen.
You can now see me. I've got the lights on. I had to go and put the lights on.
Oh, and you couldn't just get up out of the chair and go. You had to be professional about it.
Oh my God!
You've got to be trying. You've got to try. To everybody who's watching us now, welcome to the show. If you want to join us on screen, you'll find the link in the comments. So just click that link, and you're welcome to come and join the lobby. We can take up to 10 people in the lobby, and then we can sort of do musical chairs. As far as getting people on screen is concerned. But if you want to try it out, because we just said it's the fear that keeps people away from going live on video, and we're here to be gentle and to listen and to support. And if you want to come on just for a minute or two, then please do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing I love about the whole BeliveTV community is the support that everybody gives.
Yeah, it's a great community.
Yeah. It really is. I mean, if you have a question, boom, they're right there. And the opportunity to be able to just interact like this is priceless, really, in a sense, because otherwise you're just, people do have a fear. I mean, I've been on camera as a performer. I've been, I'm more comfortable with it. But even so, there was still a lot of trepidation on my own part to say, do I want to open this live camera in my, private office? Do I want to go there? And so this helps alleviate that apprehension a bit, and I appreciate Stephen, you guys taking the time to and making the effort to allow to sort of mentor people and get them started.
Thank you. I mean, it is something that we enjoy doing, and we enjoy meeting new people and interacting and supporting. And that it's been like that on BeliveTV since BeliveTV arrived on October the 14th, 2016, which means there's going to be a big party on October the 14th, 2017, the 1-year birthday. So I'm looking forward to that. In the meantime, I noticed that we have been joined by Vincent Burkardt, who joined us last week. So I'm going to drop down for a moment and bring Vincent up. And if you carry on the conversation, gentlemen.
Steven, our producer today.
I got that friend request from you, David. So I was in the process of doing that. So I left the screen for a moment. I've got you on the audio, but perfect. There we are. Confirmed friend. One more friend made on Facebook.
You are number 3,571 for me.
Really? Well, that must be nice being so popular. I feel like a wallflower with my measly. Well,
it's a gift and a curse.
It's like having too many kids, right?
Well, I don't know. It's really funny because people go, wow, you have 3,500. I just add everybody. If you send me a friend request, I mean, unless it's one of those porn girls that are always trying to share their, I mean, you do have to be real, right? Yeah, but I add everybody because I have no reason not to. I love making new friends and meeting new people. And
although the porn girls are pretty interesting, you have to admit.
Yeah,
you mean you really want to be friends with me?
Wow,
I'm impressed. What?
I show my wife.
I got so popular.
I got 6 friend requests from these girls today. What do you think of that, honey?
And I'm thinking, where were you when I was in high school? You know?
Yeah, no kidding. Well, they were probably around. We just weren't paying attention. I don't know.
Oh no, they weren't around.
Yeah, well, we didn't have the interweb back then, right?
You know, I think you have something there though, Dave. I mean, I got a whole bunch of those this week, so I think it's becoming a kind of a plague.
Yeah,
you know, I think guys from Nigeria or something, or
maybe
find photos.
Yeah.
Hey, Vincent, good to see you, my friend.
Thank you, David. Great to be on air again. And I have to admit, I'm not familiar with the gentleman that's with us all here.
Oh, sorry, Mark Curran here. He's writer, filmmaker, a whole bunch of wonderful things. Mark, meet Vincent.
Musician, songwriter. How are you?
Where are you based out of?
In LA, the Long Beach area.
That's the place to be. I would have guessed, if I had to make one guess where you were, all those creative endeavors that you're involved with, that is the place to be.
Mark, Vince is quite a story as well. Actually, he's going to be, I do a weekly show, self-plug here, live with David every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern on my Facebook page, the Video Show Network. And Vincent has a program called Ramp. It's supporting young artists and youth and mentoring them and growing them. Vincent, tell don't give it all away because I want people to watch the show tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. I'll just focus on the first 2 letters of the acronym, RAW. No, RAMP is an acronym for Rising Artist Mentorship Program. So in a nutshell, I give youth musicians performance opportunities and mentoring.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Boy, that was concise, wasn't it?
That was pretty concise.
That description, I mean, it was in and out before, I mean, but very effective, you know.
And this is another example. Vincent and I have just met, it was like a week ago. And I put on a much smaller scale than what Vince is doing, but a youth talent showcase twice a year in my hometown here. And it's not a contest, it's a showcase. So just go up. Everybody does get something because it's a showcase. If it was a contest, that's not the way it would work. But just go up there and have fun and show yourself off and get comfortable on stage and that sort of thing. So we've connected, and now we're networking, or as our friend April would say, we're net friending.
Net friending.
And now, you know, he's going to be on my live show tomorrow, and hopefully out of that, him and I are going to connect, and maybe we can, you know, I can do some things over here on his behalf, and now you and I have met, and I'm already writing notes on you, and I got to get him on a show, and let's talk about, and it's fabulous. Fantastic. And when Steven and I started this show about broadcasting in your community, I think he had an idea of, you know, me broadcasting in my community or him, but the community really is Facebook. You know, and we're just one big city now. There's no borders anymore because of things like BeliveTV.
It's a digital village.
When I saw the spelling of the town that you live in, Sarnia,
it's not Narnia.
Well, I was going to say, because I thought it was pronounced Sarnia. I thought, oh, if you did an ongoing show, you'd call it the Chronicles of Sarnia.
Yeah, well, Sarnia. It's. I think there's a Sarnia in Los Angeles, or not in Los Angeles, in California somewhere.
I'm not familiar with it, but
no, is there in Ontario?
Yes, there is.
Oh, okay, Ontario, because our
now,
province here
you're
is
in Canada. You're in Canada, right?
I am.
You're in Canada. Yeah.
Yep, I am.
Interesting. See, now, what part of Canada are you in? Are you in that like real rural area where there's like moose and?
No,
you're not. Okay,
we leave my city to go moose hunting. Well, friends, I don't. I'm in Sarnia, which is right on the border of Port Huron, Michigan. So the thumb of Michigan. I can literally go out my front door, hop in my car, drive 3 minutes, and if the bridge traffic is good, within about 10 minutes, be in the United States.
Okay, so you're right on that border between Michigan and Canada, but you're on the Canada side. Okay,
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
cool.
So about 73,000 people in the county that I live in, and it's a great community. It's a very, very come together community. When stuff's got to get done or somebody's in need, they put on the benefits, and it's just a great caring community.
Well, I think that's really cool, the idea of broadcasting to the community. I actually started something like that with a radio station here in LA about 2 years ago.
Right.
And I'd since aborted that. It was a good experiment, but I didn't get the local support. I mean, I couldn't even get involvement. The city council, nobody wanted to have anything to do with it. And
oh wow.
I just, it could be the kind of city we live in. I mean, LA is kind of like New York, and people aren't as apt to embrace you.
Yeah.
But, I did all kinds of stuff to try to get people interested in that. And it just got to a point where, I just finally said, well, this is not worth the time and all the effort that I've been putting into, because I couldn't get any listeners. I mean, I was up on iTunes, and sometimes I'd get a very small handful of listeners, but over the course of many months, it just wasn't growing. And I just got to the point where I don't think that the online radio station is really anywhere near what this is, because this has a built-in community. This has so many ways in which to connect with people and get them interactively involved, and that you can't do that with an internet radio station as much.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's too bad you had that experience. I've been really fortunate in my community. I am involved in city council meetings, sports, and all different things. Vincent, what's your experience been in your community? What's the size of the community you're in?
Fort Collins has about 175,000.
Okay.
And then we're 50 miles north of Denver. Boulder. I'm all choked up. I'm so excited to be here. Boulder is probably a city you've heard of. That's about 30 miles. No, probably more 40 miles southwest of here. So, I think the dynamic here in Fort Collins I'm very fortunate about, because there are a lot of people who recognize the importance of the arts that live here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's been a real godsend. And when I started in community radio in 2009, the station had already been around for about 8 years, so they had a good community following through that. And then there are different organizations in town, I think. They're very supportive of the arts, that promote the arts. That there's a very high percentage of the populace who volunteer their time in some capacity. So
David, are you getting the problem with his video?
Sorry, Vince, you're pretty blurry and in and out, and I'm just wondering if maybe
right.
Oh, there's Steven.
I noticed that too.
We're just Vincent. If we maybe get him to refresh, is that what we need him to do?
Vincent, if you could refresh and come back, And we have a very busy show today. So, Vincent, if you could refresh and come back in. Mark, I'm going to drop you down for a moment as we welcome a friend from Scotland.
Stay with us,
Mark.
Mark.
Bring it back.
I'll be here.
Don't go. Don't go anywhere. And we welcome all the way from Scotland, my good friend, our good friend, Peter Stewart. Good afternoon, Peter.
Hello.
Hello, Peter.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah. So this is my first time on in over 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yeah, so I've forgotten all about it, how you use it and things like that. And but hopefully I'll be back on it shortly. And people have asking when I'll be running my show again. And
it's nice to be missed.
Yeah, especially with an arrow or a bullet.
Oh yeah, true. But it's good that you're back, Peter, and you now finished your.
So I better let them know. So basically, I'm recovering from a triple heart bypass that I had 3 months ago, and it's not all finished yet. I'm having a couple of complications. I've got low iron in my blood, and I've got too much potassium. The doctor nearly fainted. He said, how many bananas do you eat a day? I said, I've got 6. He said, stop them right now.
Too many bananas.
Stop eating healthy.
Well, everything that has caused me to end up with this is because I tried to get healthy. I don't drink, don't smoke. I went on a bicycle, ended up in hospital and got a triple heart bypass. Come out, tried to eat fruit and things, and now I've got too much potassium, because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but in the United States, where you inject people in an execution, potassium is one of the ingredients. Did you know that?
Oh no.
Yes. It's one of the ingredients. It makes your heart. It makes your heart beat faster and can. Well, in fact, it can slow it. It can actually stop it, because they used it to stop my heart. Anyway, so I don't even. So what's this? What's this show all about? I noticed something about broadcasting in the community.
It is. It's broadcasting to your local community. David and I got together last week, and this show is designed to help people broadcast in the local community, although it has to be taking a life of its own. Last week we're joined by Vincent. This week we're joined by Mark and yourself, and we just anything that comes to mind, Peter. But,
okay. So this gentleman's name I'm on is again. What's that?
David.
I'm David.
David. So what do you broadcast about in your community?
Well, a lot of different things. I mean, it started out pretty focused, but now it's so I do a weekly recorded show. It's about 10 minutes long. So I go out in my community. I have an entertainment segment and then a community segment. So, I'll interview a musician or go to the local theater or anything to do with entertainment. And then something to do in the community. It's pretty self-explanatory. And that's a 10-minute recorded show.
Right.
But then I've gotten into live streaming, where I live stream our city council meetings. I'm at our local OHL hockey games, our different sports. I live stream different events. There's a lot of public forums, that kind of thing.
So one of the questions I would ask about that: what happens with legalities of maybe filming a game live?
Right.
What happens there?
Well, interesting question. I've come across that. There are, there's other groups that maybe like a local cable or a TSN or big companies that might already be there.
Yeah. And
you do have to make sure that you have the right permissions to be there, to just be there. And it, you say, well, everybody sitting in the audience can take it on their phone, but if you're going to be there in an official, professional manner, you gotta look into that stuff. And believe me, they'll tell you. They'll say, hey, you can't do that.
Okay.
And then you just try to, I think most any dealings I've had with it, most are professional about it. They come across and say, well, this is what you can and cannot do. And I mean, it's kind of like Facebook, right? You know, you got to follow their rules. It's their home. And it's been good for me because it's forced me to be more creative. Okay, well, if I can't do that, but like our local junior hockey team, the Legionnaires, I'll be doing some stuff there, and there's nobody else broadcasting there. So other than the radio station, and but we looked into that and made sure, you know, that their hockey association's okay with it and stuff. It doesn't come up too often. I mean, if I'm being hired to broadcast something at you know, our city puts on public forums, you know, what do you think of this bylaw, that bylaw?
Yeah.
I just go do it. I let them know I'm coming. I've gotten to the point where they invite me to come. So sometimes, you know, I go and I do it, and I'm doing it they're not paying me to be there, but I sell my advertising or get sponsors to support it, right?
All right. So that's quite interesting because Stephen knows I do a show called The Talking, and basically it's about businesses getting them up and telling their story. Putting on their pitch, etc. I just want to get people up to speak. In fact, who was it came from Oregon? Because that's where I've done my training. Portland, Oregon, near just down from Mount Hood, and that's what I wanted to do. But I'm finding what I would love to do is have a local show where I try to get people up to speak about local politics or things that are going on locally that have caused a bit of controversy, and getting both sides up to represent themselves and try to remain neutral. But that would be very hard for me to remain neutral.
So, that would be virtually impossible, Peter. It's not going to happen, and that's the joy of it. It's brilliant to see you. And look forward to you being back on Blabbing for Britain, which is on Thursdays. Look forward to your show coming back as well.
Yeah.
And thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So we've got very busy, so I'm going to drop yourself down, and I'm going to drop myself down in a minute and bring back David. And once David is successfully back, I'm going to...
Oh. You're going to bring...
Now we lost Steven's audio.
He disappeared. Oh, Vincent's back. Oh, there we go. That's Vincent's much better, back. Vincent.
Okay, let me know if it fades out. I can't tell if it's acting wacky at all or not.
Oh, you're good. We'll let you know.
Right. Looks all right.
Yeah. It's kind of incredible, this technology. When I was off screen, I was private messaging with Mark, and we learned a little about each other, which was very interesting, how these different avenues for connecting. Nothing like the video. It's quite remarkable being able to do the video. But I saw that Mark involved in the films, going to be going to Gettysburg. We both grew up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's amazing. He's near the main line. I grew up in Exton, and after many years, I'm now going back to the state of Pennsylvania to visit some friends in Gettysburg and research the possibility of shooting a documentary about the history of Gettysburg, which is kind of cool. And don't ask me how I go from doing a horror movie to Gettysburg, but
if you were in the war, you probably felt like you were in a horror film. So
yeah, it's just how, if you have a lot of interest in a lot of different things, you don't limit yourself to one specific thing. You know? But I've got a very good friend who's a Civil War aficionado, and he lives there. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm going to keep an open mind about it, but I thought, all right, well, I'm going to go there and see, and perhaps Gettysburg might be the next project. I don't know.
It kind of reminds me of a theme. You probably have a significant number of people that live there around a common theme of having a passion for the history there.
Oh, yeah.
So you being in Long Beach, there's a common what are the common themes in that community?
Right.
Community. And is it more challenging being part of a much larger city, which LA? How do you
localize it? How do you kind of drill down to your local community and find what are the unique aspects of that, and how can you bring the people in your community together, which kind of brings us back to this, because the BeliveTV and broadcasting to your local community is a perfect way to do that. And you're never at a loss for ideas, because your local community is rich with things. So that's a great way.
Exactly. With David being in a smaller community, when he's out in the community and talking to different people that I've seen in his shows, a lot of those people from the different videos have probably at some point met each other, whether they've seen each other in the supermarket or they see each other at the local games, the sporting events, and so forth. Whereas being in a place, it's kind of that story you hear about, like if somebody falls on the sidewalk walking down. If there are two people walking by, yeah, there's high probability that they're going to say, hey, how can I help you? If you have 1,000 people walking down in the street of LA or something like that, people might think, well, somebody, I'm late for an appointment. Somebody else is definitely, obviously going to help that person. If everybody walking by has the same thought, nobody's going to help.
Yeah, and the more people there are,
yeah,
the more likely they're going to pass on by.
Right. So in a place like Long Beach, where you have so many people living there, how can that work a way that could work in David's community?
Well, I think he's already got to.
I think David already has the answer to that because he's doing it.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly, I guess, an advantage, if you will, because, pardon me, to the size of the community that I live in. But I've lived here all my life as well, right? And it's all about relationships. And I was a karaoke guy for 20 plus years. That was I did that full time for a career, and did quite well at it. And that, so I mean, my face was already out there from the time I was like 19 years old, right? So over time, building relationships, and then getting into something like being a talk show host and producer for shows and stuff. But I engaged in my community. I didn't just go out into my community and say, hey, I want to interview you. I didn't want to interview you. I do a lot of stuff where, like at live streaming events, some events, I do it for free. I go out. I just think this is something important in our community that I want people to see. Our Christmas Day parades, our Canada Day parades, I broadcast those, and I gone to, all the nursing homes in our community and said, hey, you should hook up a laptop to your TV in your community room, and you should get your residents down there to watch the parade, because they don't get to get out and engage in the community like that. And my mother lives in a nursing home, which kind of gave me the idea, and said, and there's this big community room with this TV bigger than the one I got at home. It's, and they were like, wow, what a great idea. Right. So going out and engaging in the community and being active in doing some things, volunteering, being a part of, certainly helps as well. And yeah, the size of the community, I mean, it's pretty cool when you're walking down the street and somebody comes up and says, hey, I watch your show on TV. It's not TV, but it is TV because their internet's hooked up to their 60-inch television, right? And or people, oh, hey, I saw that person on your show. And it all comes back to that one keyword, to relationships and engagement. So I think in to your question, I guess to if you're in an area of 150,000 people, pick the 70,000 people closest around you and start there. And if you just focus on that area, right, and build it there,
then it'll organically grow.
Then you can go and step out a little bit further. Like I say, I promote Sarnia Lambton. I promote mostly Sarnia, and then there's Petrolia and Corunna around me that I've said I need to get going there a little further, and then go to Wyoming and stuff that are all within 15, 20 minutes of me. But that's my Sarnia Lambton. And yeah, you just grow it, but just pick an area, that's closest to you, within 20 minutes or half an hour, how much driving you want to do, and focus on that area. And then like Mark said, once you get that stable, it'll grow from there exponentially, really. And it's not who you know, it's who you don't know that will get you to the next person that's really interesting. Mm-hmm. Like you and Mark didn't know each other, so it was through Steven or I that you two met. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's hardly ever. Well, it depends who you know. Well, it depends who I know, who they know. Quite honestly,
right.
So
we're all connected in some way. I mean, in one way, shape, or form, we are all connected.
Yeah.
But now we can do it electronically, and people will connect with other people who know other people, and it just grows and grows, and it becomes an organic living thing because people are interacting and creating their input to it. And one thing I came to mind, I thought that you could do pick a community center and do almost like a town hall kind of a thing, where all these people that you've got in Sarnia, all come to this town hall meeting. And they serve a dinner, or they have a potluck, or however you do it. And then, but you'd actually, maybe you could have like a little area where you would actually be, webcasting this thing to the rest of the community that couldn't make it, or to the nursing home, because the folks are in the nursing home, they can't get out. And you'd have these people that are at this town hall meeting, or whatever you want to call it, interacting with the people in the nursing home, and the nursing home people interacting back. And, it's just limitless.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, and it's not just, you think nursing home, but you think, there are people who have accessibility issues, right? That they're they're mentally and all still capable, but or older folks who are still capable, but man, it's really too hot for me to go outside. Or, there's lots of different possibilities to.
Yeah, I've done a lot of work with assisted living facilities around my area as a performer, going out and doing shows. And I was really shocked because I've been doing these things for years, and I gotten out of it for about 6 years to pursue movie making and other things. And when I came back to it, I was amazed, of course, how much closer I was in age to the people that were in there, and that kind of shocked me,
Yeah.
I don't think about that. And then I noticed that maybe there's some connection here, but I noticed that the people that were in these places, some of them, were a lot younger than I had remembered.
Right.
Usually you think of people doddering, in their 90s, but these are young people. I mean, in comparison, very with it and very capable, but they're living in assisted living because of just circumstances and other things that have happened. So they're very with it and very active. So, there's just, people would be, it's advisable to try to hook up with assisted living facilities. Don't write them off, as you found, because they're a treasure trove of people. And these folks that have been around and have stories to tell, they've lived a lot of life, and it's amazing. I just sit there and listen to them forever, Yeah. And
one of the things that got me inspired to do it was too, when my mother lives in a nursing home here, and our address is 549 and her address is 749. So, and then, but I have a friend of mine who lives in assisted living. He just turned 40 years old. He's had MS for probably since he was 30. Right. And I knew him prior to MS, when he could walk, and we drank beer together and all that sort of stuff. So, and a conversation I had with him was something that, helped me go, well, hey, yeah, why don't we do this kind of thing? Right. And that's kind of more of the direction too of reaching out to more of that, because it's a forgotten community in our communities, really, I think, and it's
a part of our culture to sort of write off the old folks and say, let's just put them in a home. But you don't find that in other countries. No, it's more of an American thing.
Yeah, I agree. And but with this stuff, with BeliveTV, and whatever platform you're choosing, it's it's a whole new.
Yeah,
I wish I'd invented. It's a whole new world.
it sure
Maybe
is.
get
Especially
sued for
people have these smartphones and stuff. They can just hook right in. You don't have to have a webcam or anything fancy. You can just
I go out in the community with this.
Yeah.
And my iPhone 6S Plus, and I have a wireless microphone that I have a USB microphone that plugs into that.
Yeah, very cool.
And I walk around and go live, and I use some fancy apps that I can put the graphics up and everything. I'm a mobile journalist, and I'm everywhere. But people run into me and they say, "Boy, you're really everywhere." There's a little bit of magic involved too with pre-recording and stuff. But I really and in my community, you can be anywhere at the busiest time of day, hitting every red light in 12 to 15 minutes. So, I mean, that's certainly convenient too, right?
Well,
Vincent,
I admire you.
Well, thanks. I enjoy what I do, and I love what I'm in my studio here, right? And if you could see it, it's a total disaster area right now, but this is the only part that matters at the moment. But
the beauty of the frame.
Yeah.
That's right.
Vincent, I just want to go over to you again because we had talked about, and I don't know if our friend Steven Healey's coming back or he's just having fun listening to us, I think. But
just talk to
me a little bit again about the engagement in your community with what you do. You get pretty good response for support, like you support it with, and we'll talk more tomorrow night on my show. But you're getting good response, obviously.
Yeah, and I think that when I started setting up music events in the community, I think that people really connected with that, because when you make an event in town and people get to showcase their skills regardless of their age, I think that's the number one way you can build community, because you have people meeting each other that have a shared interest in being in a place that, before the event, after the event, they get to meet, they get to talk, they get to exchange information. Now you can do it on your phone. You don't even need a business card really these days. And then kind of continuing those events. So I think that there are definitely, and there are also places to have events that people wouldn't ordinarily think of. Certainly community centers are great places, but you can have events in coffee shops. You can have events, there's Whole Foods. I don't know if you guys have Whole Foods where you live. It's kind of a natural grocery store, but they have like the entranceway where they have kind of a patio, indoor patio where people can, work on their laptops while they're eating lunch or what have you.
Yeah, we have something similar like that.
They clear the tables away, and they bring in music events. What I haven't done, which is fascinating, is they even had above, like the coolers, they have had musicians stand on top of the coolers before and perform music for people.
Oh, kind of like the old U2 Beatles thing.
Where they were up on
that's going back a bit.
Top of the building. Yeah.
Stephen, you were there, weren't you?
I was there. I was there. I'm not going to say I wasn't. Those were interesting times because, well, they just were. Now, we're coming towards the end of the show, so I'm going to drop down again. I know I've been out of sight most of the time. Just bring Peter back for a moment, and if Peter, you give your words of wisdom, and then I'll bring Mark back.
Stephen, why don't you stay here and drop me out, because I've been, and so
okay.
I'll step back this time.
Okay, we'll take it in turns. I mean, one of the things I wish is that I know we've got 3 people on screen, but if we could have 7 people on screen, then we'd be okay. But David and I both appreciate the fact that you've joined us this week, and it's bringing you on your shows, and you're coming back next week. But Peter and I have been broadcasting together for the last 70 weeks, every Thursday, and we're looking forward to welcoming Peter back to our show. But Peter, your words of wisdom at the moment.
Oh, words of wisdom. You've caught me on the hop there. Keep going, no matter what happens to you. Sometimes it takes a life tragedy to make you think and start looking other ways. Keep going.
Indeed, wise words, and keep going is something we've all got to do. And this is Alfredo is watching us. Alfredo is another good friend, and he says it's possible if you use different video platform to get BeliveTV. Now, that's something that we can look at doing in the coming weeks as we push technology to its limits on this show. Peter, thank you, and take care. We'll see you again soon. I'm going to bring Mark back up.
And I want to say about Peter, because he heads off, because I haven't really chatted with him. I know you do the Bliving for Britain, which is on a little bit before I get up in the morning, so it's cool to screen with him briefly there.
Yeah, so I mean, we're building we're networking and building a community. It's global, and it's great that we can all get together and chat and exchange ideas. I mean, that's the beauty of it.
It's wonderful. I'm excited. I'm excited about the endless possibilities.
Indeed. I mean, and we're joined by Tim Judge as our global community comes together. 3 on screen is perfect. Give your 2 cents and peace out. Clean and simple. That's his 2 cents. So from Tim Judge, thank you, Tim. But it does, and Derry's going to be producing the show next week, so he's going to realise that having 3 people on screen and 5 people in total, and juggling everybody,
it's quite hard. I mean, you've got to bring in graphics, and you're trying to, it's just kind of like juggling, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's all good fun. And,
yes. Well, I'm sure you get good at it after. I mean, you're pretty good at it. It's just the more you do it, the better you get at it. I think for all of us, it's the same thing, because all of us are going to be hosting our own shows at some point, and it's watching others and how they perform, and it is a mentoring, really. It's a true mentoring. So again, thank you for that, Steven. I appreciate it.
You're most welcome. Mark, where can people contact you?
You can contact me through my Facebook page, Mark Curran. That's where I'm at. And I also have a group on Facebook called the Horror Fiction Central Group. So you'll be seeing more of me, and I'll be on the message boards for BeliveTV as well. So I'm sure there'll be always a way to get in touch. There'll always be a way to get in touch. And as you would say, Steven, indeed.
Indeed, yes. Indeed. Don't forget to put the links in the comments afterwards. So, Mark, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
And Vincent, where can we?
I have a website, ramp.guru, ramp.guru, ramp.guru. And I'm definitely going to keep in touch with Mark. All you guys that I'm meeting on this application is really fantastic. I will briefly say that I had a talk with Angel this morning in Ireland. We talked and got to know each other a little bit. So that was a lot of fun.
Vincent, thank you. We'll see you again shortly.
I'll see David tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Vincent.
You will. I'll be watching, and if I don't get there live, I'll be watching the replay. So have a great show, guys. And wow, that was a global tour, wasn't it?
That was fantastic, and it's true to the possibilities we keep talking about.
Right. Now I'm just going to ask a question of Peter. Peter, could you sing us out? Just put your thumbs up if you can. Right. Okay. On this first show, to be joined by Mark and Vincent and David and I have had a blast, and really enjoyed this. And David will have the final words after a short song. At least I hope it's short.
So this is for all the people that are trying in life and things don't work out the way they should be. This is a song by Frank Sinatra that he sung to Lauren Bacall, and it's called Let Me Try Again. Let me try again. Let me try again. Think of all we've had before, you and I once more. We can have it all. You and I agree. There you go. Keep going.
Brilliant. Peter, thank you. Take care. I'll see you again soon. And
Thanks, Peter.
that was brilliant. And I could see Mark. Mark was actually singing along. A chance of getting a duet together at some stage. So,
as
guys,
a karaoke host myself, I can appreciate that.
Brilliant. Debbie, would you like to sign us out?
Oh, sure. I never know what to expect on these shows because we just had a great viewership today, and more importantly, connected with a lot of new people. And it's not so much. I mean, sometimes it's about the numbers. I mean, we look at the first thing you and I will do is go back and look at how many views did we get and how many shares. The people we connected with today is really what's most important for expanding into the next levels and horizons of what we want to do. And the thing we talk about, Steven, is it's the whole planet's local now, right? I mean, you and I have gotten to know each other, and we get to know each other more every week. And I've connected with Vince, and so I mean, what a great community seems to be in this live streaming world. For the most part, it's positive. It is. It doesn't seem to be a lot of negative going on with it, and that's a really powerful thing. Is the positive that we can do. I've always said live streaming can change the world, and I believe it already is starting in that direction. And I think used properly, we'll get to know each other, and perhaps someday. Like I plan on doing some traveling in the future, and goodness sakes, I could probably come to your country and meet.
Yep, that's true.
We have friends all over the.
Yep. You in Scotland, we just need a Welshman, an Irishman, and you're there. That's the whole of Great Britain covered.
Yeah, it was fantastic being on here, and just look forward to our new show every Monday at 12 o'clock.
And okay, we'll see you all next week. Take care. Have a good week. Bye for now. And we're closing the broadcast. Everything will stay live behind the